Mayweather Jr. He won a bronze medal at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. Floyd, very impressive, very personable as well. He's 12-0 with 10 career knockouts. And for Floyd Mayweather Jr., one thing that's very important to him is the name Mayweather. Al Bernstein had a chance to sit down with Floyd and his uncles Roger and Jeff in the Mayweather name.
The Mayweather clan, a famous name in boxing circles, and justifiably so. The youngest of the group, Floyd, of course, making your debut as a main event fighter this evening. You have not only your famous uncles, but your dad as well, who is a great fighter. Some people would think that puts pressure on you, but you actually kind of use it as strength, don't you?
There's no pressure at all. I mean, boxing is just about, staying focused, relaxing. I mean, don't worry about, that my father been in prison before. Don't worry about none of that stuff. I mean, as far as Roger's career and Jeff's career, it's just about staying focused in the boxing game.
Team Mayweather, and they have definite plans on Floyd Jr.'s future. And Al, it seems like they're going about things in such a good way. His uncle Jeff had mentioned that Floyd, at the age of 20, is really very mature. He has a house, he's paying his own mortgage, he's paying bills. It's good to see a young guy coming along the right way.
I'm going to tell you something. His uncle Jeff is the kind of guy who can give him some sound advice. He's been a very solid citizen, and Roger takes care of the boxing part of it with them, and together they make a very nice team.
And Floyd is so proud of the Mayweather name, as you touched upon at the beginning. His father had been in prison, especially during the Olympics, and he said, when I was a kid, my dad used to hold me up on his shoulders in the gym, and I want to help my dad out, so it's a close-knit group.
It really is, and as you look at this young man, you look at the smile, it lights up the arena. Some say he's arrogant. He says he's confident, and that's what Jeff, his uncle, said if you know him well, it's not arrogance. He just is confident in his own ability.
You and I had a chance to spend a lot of time with him in Atlanta, and he had that win, as we showed you on the graphic. That was against Lorenzo Aragon, and when he beat the Cuban, and then losing 12-11 to Sarim Todorov in a fight that many thought Mayweather was a winner in.
I absolutely thought he won, and I'll tell you what, he made history in becoming the first American to beat a Cuban in the Olympics in 20 years, and I think that alone makes Floyd Mayweather a historical amateur fighter.
Yeah, and the other thing was he made the Olympic team, having to beat Augie Sanchez twice in the box office. Now, what about Hector Arroyo? This is a guy that poses a serious threat to Mayweather.
He really does, and Mayweather's fought a lot of experienced fighters, but as you look at Arroyo, he's been 3-3-1 in his last 7 fights, so he's on a little bit of a downslide. He claims he is in absolutely the best condition he's been in years. He'll need to be.
The bout is scheduled for 10 rounds. Here's something you need to know. Mayweather has never been past 6 rounds. Arroyo has done it 9 times. For the introductions, here's Mark Biro.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Biloxi Grand Theater, Top Rank Incorporated in association with Biloxi Grand Casino and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, this Bud's for You presents main event, 10 rounds, junior lightweights. Your referee for this event from Biloxi, Mississippi, Fred Steinwinder III. Introducing now the principals first in the red corner to my right, wearing the black trunks and red, white, and blue of Puerto Rico. He weighs in at 133 pounds. His professional record reads 15 victories, 4 defeats, 2 draws, and 9 wins coming by way of knockout. El hijo de Morogues, Puerto Rico, Hector Arroyo. His opponent in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, white trim. He weighs in at 132 pounds. He is currently undefeated in 12 professional bouts. 10 wins coming by way of knockout. He now makes his home in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here is pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. 10 rounds, junior lightweights.
A very relaxed Floyd Mayweather, and there's the referee, Fred Steinwinder III.
At all times. Touch gloves, come out, fight.
There's Arroyo, and Al all the referees tonight wearing a ribbon in honor of one of their comrades.
Terry Wood, who was a very fine referee and official here, passed away this week, had a heart attack. It was tragic. 50-year-old, great guy, and they counted the bell, 10 bells for him earlier in the evening, and a sign of respect from the other officials.
Our condolences to the Wood family. He was a gentleman.
Very nice man, and it's really a tragedy.
Take a look at the knockout ratio. Mayweather, 83%. 4 of those 10 knockouts have come in the first round, 7 in the first 2 rounds. Arroyo has 6 first-round knockouts. He has 1 knockout loss. Both of these men have Olympic experience. Arroyo, a member of the Puerto Rican Olympic team in 1988, the team that went to the Seoul Olympic Games.
And, you know, we just saw Floyd Mayweather crank up the double left hook against Arroyo. He's a pure puncher, Floyd Mayweather. He is a guy who can knock you out, and he feels that way. And in that sense, he reminds me a lot of Oscar De La Hoya, in that when De La Hoya became a pro, he really used his power well, and that's what Mayweather is doing.
We saw Mayweather make his pro debut on ESPN back in October of 1996. Second-round knockout against Roberto Apodaca. In fact, his first 3 bouts were on ESPN. Some rough stuff. The referee steps in and takes care of things. He's fought in Biloxi once before, has Floyd. That came in July of this year. 5th-round TKO against Jesus Chavez. And a little bad blood, heads coming together. Mayweather barely touching the gloves and then diving in.
Freddie Steinweider already has his hands full here.
So, plot thickens here in round 1.
Arroyo's the kind of fighter who has kind of an awkward style, and a combination of his style and the way Mayweather is grabbing him behind the head is creating that situation, the head's bouncing back together. But see, that's what Floyd Mayweather can do. He steps back and says, okay, I don't want to stay on the inside, so what am I going to do? I'm going to use my jab, stay on the outside. Look at him, very smart. You won't see most young fighters immediately make that adjustment. He did.
Al, you know who he reminds me a little bit of? Oh, look at him, he's blowing kisses. He's not going to endear himself to many fans with that. And we saw him hot dog in his first couple of pro bouts. I mean, and he's backed it up.
Well, now, I think in this case, some of that came from the fact that there was rough stuff early in the bout.
Reminds me a little bit of a young Meldrick Taylor.
Yeah, that's a good, very good analogy. Who, of course, was a featherweight and then a junior lightweight. And Arroyo says, "You may blow kisses, but I can throw a right hand in earnest," and he landed one.
Final seconds of round number 1. Hector Arroyo and Floyd Mayweather don't like each other. Bit of an abrasion under the right eye of Hector Arroyo. We begin round number 2 in the scheduled 10-round junior lightweight bout. Bob Papa, Al Bernstein, welcome you back to Biloxi, Mississippi. The Grand Casino. Numbers in round 1.
Well, in a rugged round, Mayweather ended up landing only 29% of his punches, but that was enough to have the edge over Arroyo. He was busier. You know, Mayweather sparred with a middleweight, Ray Collins, and also with Kennedy McKinney, who, of course, just had that big win over Junior Jones out in Las Vegas.
Mayweather, born and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but wanted to get good sparring and a lot of competition in the gym, so moved to Las Vegas.
He has thrived out there.
A little lead right hand from Mayweather. Now, one thing his uncles mentioned, Roger and Jeff, especially Jeff, he says Floyd must use his jab more. He has a tremendous jab, but maybe it's coming a little easy for him, and he's throwing those lead rights too much.
It's really a very good observation. And sometimes he'll get in there and just throw left hooks and battle with a guy. When he jabs his way in, he's effective. There you see he was able to throw that double left hook and get it in, so maybe he didn't think he needed the jab. But he's picking up the beat here in round 2, and Arroyo's showing you that he's a skilled veteran. Blocking those left hooks from Mayweather. And I think you can tell already Arroyo's prepared for this bout, both mentally and physically. As he's firing back on Mayweather, even though he lost the first round, toward the end of that round, he was nailing him with some right hands.
Arroyo fought on October the 18th in Florida, first round TKO against Jaime Abrica. You know, one thing you have to note about Mayweather, fans tuning in might be saying, well, maybe he's just another overhyped Olympian. 12-0, 10 knockouts, but in his last 3 bouts against Luis Leija, Philip Garcia, and Angelo Nunez, those 3 went into those bouts with a combined record of 51 wins and 28 knockouts.
Nice right uppercut by Mayweather, but you see Arroyo is going after him. Steinweiner's warning Arroyo, but I have to say, Floyd is doing a lot of holding inside that's making this even uglier than it needs to be.
Work your hands free inside. Keep your hands working inside. Watch your head.
Hector Arroyo is making the kind of fight he needs to make to be in this fight.
10 seconds to go in round 2. Mayweather putting his punches together. Arroyo standing right there. Things heating up in Biloxi.
Hector Arroyo has discovered something. If he stays on the inside, see, he can get some things done against Mayweather. Even though he still had some trouble in that last round. In this posture, he's able to use his long arms and his crafty style to land a little bit and not get hit with the big punches by Mayweather.
Round 3 underway. Take a look at the numbers through 2 rounds.
Mayweather with an edge, but not an enormous edge. And you know, Roger Mayweather was talking to us about Arroyo, and he really made a very good observation. He said when you look at him, he looks like he's probably very much a classic boxer, but he isn't. And it's true. He's really more of a kind of an awkward, brawling type of fighter who doesn't jab, doesn't stay on the outside and do things a boxer does. He's at his best when he's brawling. He was 1 fight away from a world championship. He was ranked #1 by the WBA. And he lost to Manuel Gomez, did Arroyo, in a fight he was winning every round, got tired, got knocked out, and that dashed his title hopes. There's Roger Mayweather, 2-time world champion, uncle of Floyd, who tutors him in boxing.
You heard it.
You heard it with the left hook. Ready? Right there.
They want to see more of that left hook.
He's got a good one.
Hook. Right there. He followed to you with the hook. Chase with the hook.
Pop it, pop it.
You know, Floyd Mayweather has so much confidence and so much ability that he is the kind of guy, though, that will drop his hands, leave his head in a vulnerable position, and only time will tell whether really experienced fighters like a Gennaro Hernandez, who is no doubt looking in on this just to see what a possible future opponent might look like. He may have to make sure that he tucks that head in and protects it against a fighter like Hernandez.
Well, the great ones do it when they're young and they can take it to the next level, and the pretenders get their block knocked off.
A very good comment, and it's absolutely true. Working the body, Mayweather does not forget to do that. One of the signs of the maturity that we've pointed out he has beyond his 20 years. Arroyo has found a home occasionally for that right hand. That one glanced off the head of Mayweather. Hector's having a hard time figuring out what will work offensively.
Final seconds of round 3. In his scheduled 10-rounder between Floyd Mayweather and Hector Arroyo. Hope you're enjoying the action on the Deuce.
Even though Arroyo had some success on the inside, that's how to stop that success. Look at a nice combination, including the uppercut by Mayweather.
Round number 4 underway. You get a look at the theater of the Grand Casino in Biloxi. Beautiful place. Right on the Gulf of Mexico.
We have not been to Biloxi in quite a while. And I'll tell you, all up and down this strip, there are some very nice hotels. They've done a lot in this area, that's for sure. Mayweather
in round 3 with an edge of 8 punches.
Mayweather giving Arroyo a bunch of different angles.
You know, this is all great, but you know what Floyd's doing in a lot of these cases? He's slapping with a lot of his punches. And two punches might be better than 5 if you're going to slap with the last 3.
Al has it a shutout.
I feel like Mayweather has won each of these rounds. One was closer, but I thought he's won them all.
He doesn't seem, and this is not to take anything away from Arroyo, but Mayweather doesn't seem as sharp as we've seen him in other bouts.
Well, and part of that has to do with the fact that Arroyo could very easily be the best guy he's faced. Certainly Leija, who was 18-3, was a very good fighter, but Arroyo was in fact ranked #1 as recently as 2 years ago, and even though he's fallen on harder times in terms of winning fights, clearly he's not a bad fighter. And also, he brings a style to this fight that, as Roger Mayweather aptly pointed out, Freddie Steinweiler got in the middle of the fighters, couldn't get away. As Mayweather aptly pointed out, it's not a style that's that easy.
Chanting Hector.
No, break it up, stop the punches. Come on, stop all that inside. Break it
Floyd
up.
trying to taunt the fans, too.
Doesn't need to be fighting anyone but the guy in front of him. And I think part of the reason people started chanting that is, and you made a point early on in this bout, some of the showboating of Mayweather not only maybe didn't enchant the judges, but some of the fans as well.
Arroyo using his face a little bit there.
Working hard on the inside. Not everything landing, but he's doing lots of punching and having himself a much better round. And that was a nice right hand to the head of Mayweather.
That one landed.
Best round of the fight for Arroyo by far, the first one he won.
Well, Mayweather looks to answer as we come to the end of round 4, scheduled for 10. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the final round.
Wow.
Hector Arroyo was sent to the canvas on the final punch of round 4.
Just as we were going to break, the timing was awful for us, but here you will see Arroyo waging a battle and gets whacked by a great left hook and then a right hand by Mayweather, and went down right at the bell, got to his feet, looked a little wobbly, but he will go on.
So let's see if Mayweather can capitalize on that now. Normally when a boxer knocks down another boxer out, it's a 10-8 round. Did you feel Arroyo had won that round up until that last sequence?
I actually did, but I'm going to give Mayweather a 10-8 round in any case because of the severity of the knockdown. He is whacking Arroyo. This fight could well be over here in the 5th round.
And Arroyo had to get up because in Mississippi you can't be saved by the bell except in the final round. And now Arroyo trying to tackle Mayweather.
Good work by Freddie Steinweiler, standing 8 count.
And that is in effect in Mississippi.
That's an appropriate call, and this is why I like the rule. He's penalized already, but now it gives him a chance to see if he's going to be all right. Some would argue the other way, and they'd say, gee, Mayweather could have finished him off without that standing 8 count, but I like it.
Now there is a 3 knockdown rule. And there's plenty of time left in round 5.
Look at the body work by Floyd Mayweather. That's the part that really impresses me because most youngsters wouldn't be doing it. And he knows the combinations to use. The uppercut started it. And that'll do it.
Fred Steinweiler III says this is over in the 5th. Fans don't like it, but I think it's a good stoppage because I don't think Arroyo was going to rebound from that.
Well, you know, Floyd Mayweather didn't endear himself to this crowd. I think primarily because of some of the showboating early. This is not his home turf, but even the people that are a little distressed should give him his due because he performed exceedingly well in that ring.
Floyd Mayweather now 13-0 with his 11th stoppage as he stops Hector Arroyo in round number 5. And now it's a pretty good list. His last 4 opponents and the wins that he's posted against guys with good records as we look at the numbers.
And against a veteran in Hector Arroyo. And really, what that graphic shows is that Hector Arroyo came here to fight. He didn't come here just to show up, and he did pretty well against Mayweather. They will learn from this fight. He will learn. Jeff behind him, and Roger will, and Miguel Diaz will help tutor him from this tape.
Let's send it up to Mark Biro for the official time of the stoppage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 21 seconds of the 5th round. The winner by tactical knockout and still undefeated, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather.
Well, you hear some of the cheering because of some of the antics from Floyd earlier, but when you cut to the chase and look at the pure boxing ability, an impressive stoppage of Hector Arroyo. Pretty Boy standing by with Al.
Thank you, Bob. Floyd Mayweather got the job done here. Hector Arroyo was kind of rough on the inside. You guys had clashes of heads. Was that style a little difficult to figure out for a round or two?
Well, first I want to thank my sponsors, Nietzsche and Groovy Styles. But he was kind of awkward. He was, a real tough guy. But I stayed focused, and God was behind me, and I took care of my job tonight.
You did stay focused, and I thought part of that was how well you counterpunched. Let's look at the first knockdown, and this will give us a good idea. You kept your head about yourself, and you also knew what punches to go to. Describe this for us.
Right now, I'm just taking my time. He was in there, he was in. We worked on it in the back of the dressing room, but he was sitting right there shooting his whole load. I was, just catching him on my shoulder and my arm. He landed a few good shots, but the champion prevailed in the end.
And you knocked him down with the left hook before, and then here we're going to see that left hook again. That's the same knockdown. Nice combinations.
Man,
and now the end of the fight, Floyd.
What's that pretty? Look at it. Oh, no.
I like your humility. That was.
Thank you.
Now, let me ask you something. This fight, you came out, you showboated a little bit earlier. You do that. That's part of your thing. Obviously, it rankled the crowd a little bit. They weren't thrilled with that. Do you worry that that's going to create animosity even with the officials?
Listen, they hate Camacho, too. Some guys you love, some guys you hate. That's what sells tickets. And I'm here to sell tickets. I'm a performer. That's what I do. I sell myself. I don't need nobody to sell me. I can sell myself.
Okay, so you don't mind them being a little annoyed with you?
I let them boo. It's no problem. I'm going to deal with that. And that's a part of boxing. Some love you, some hate you. But I love myself.
Well, I'll tell you what. Well, we know that, and I'll tell you what. You look good tonight, so you had a lot to love.
Thank you. And I just want to, say hi to my dad in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and say hello to all my fans back in Las Vegas and Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I'm sure your dad's watching. All right, Floyd Mayweather, happy with his performance. Why not? Let's go back to Bob Papa.
And Floyd Mayweather Sr. is happy in Grand Rapids, Michigan, as his son goes to 13-0 with 11 knockouts.